Hey, good afternoon. It's Vlad. It's Tuesday, 12 o'clock, and that means we're answering your questions that we've received from everyone over the past week. So as always, we encourage you to contact us with your questions because chances are if you have a question, someone else will also. And here we go. So this is a basic question. What's the difference between a will and a trust? In a nutshell, a will controls everything that you have at the time of death. And it provides a framework for how it will be distributed in what shares to whatever individuals or legal entity. The will requires probate, which means it has to be pulled through court. A trust is a separate legal entity, separate from you, and it only controls what you have funded into it physically. So if you funded the trust with real estate, it means you change the deed from your name to the name of the trust. And if you funded it with cash, it means you open a checking account and deposited money in there. A trust is a non-probate vehicle that distributes the trust corpus per your wishes outside of the court. Both serve very important purposes. The answer is generally, that's how this works. In order to qualify for Medicaid, you have to categorically be eligible by low income, low assets, and health conditions. If you have too much money in your bank account, you simply will not be able to get Medicaid. That's part of the planning. We deal with this transparently and legally to satisfy Medicaid requirements. We play by Medicaid rules so that we can divest the assets by giving them to family members or the trust or doing something else. And then you'll be able to qualify for Medicaid. So there is such a thing as a look-back period. That means from the date of application for Medicaid, and usually that date is by calendar month. So it doesn't matter if it's the 2nd of the month or the 20th of the month, that's the month. And prior to the 1st of that month, Medicaid looks back at any transfers that you have made of your assets. Each state differs. There's look-back periods in each state that are dictated by the state-specific requirements. So in New York, there's two types of Medicaid: community Medicaid and nursing home Medicaid. Community Medicaid is the one where you're home, you get home attendance, and you get Medicaid as a mostly outpatient or maybe short-term stays. Nursing home is when you become a permanent resident at a nursing facility. In New York, nursing home Medicaid is 5 years, which means they look back 5 years to see if you transferred anything, including the trust. So doing last-minute planning with a trust may or may not actually save you. For now, with certain exceptions, in New York, there is no look-back period for community Medicaid. In a state like New Jersey, for example, there's 5-year look back on both community and nursing homes. So depending on which state you're in, you will have to consult your elder law attorney to ensure that what you're doing will benefit you and not harm you in the long run. There's two types of situations where your Medicaid eligibility is affected. One is when you don't have Medicaid yet but would like to apply. The other is when you have Medicaid already, but you settled a personal injury action or medical malpractice action or received an inheritance. And now you have this cash that you would like to take, but you may not be able to, but you can't refuse it because that would be fraud for Medicaid purposes. And this is called public benefit preservation. This is also what we do, and we help clients with that part. In terms of Medicaid eligibility, in New York, a single person cannot have more than $30,000 in assets, and a couple cannot have more than $40,000. New Jersey, for example, tracks Social Security, or rather SSI, was $2,000 for a single and $3,000 for a couple. The planning is completely different, but if you cannot have more than $3,000 per couple and you settled a personal injury case for $50,000, there's obviously the answer for saving the money is no. But it also depends on many other factors, and it depends on what the total recovery is that we need to discuss and figure out what's the best possible solution for your situation.